It seems that getting closer to communist China means Australians must give up some of their freedoms, like free speech. On Tuesday, Prime Minister Anthony Albanese refused to say what he discussed in his meeting in Canberra with Zhao Leiji, the third most senior leader of the Chinese dictatorship. Oh no, we don't do that kind of thing. We don't reveal conversations at this level of contact, he said. Although China yesterday showed this was actually done. It released the readout saying Zhao told Albanese that Taiwan and the South China Sea, both of which China is trying to take over, were Chinese territories and core interests. And in his description of the meeting, he didn't note any objection from Albanese. It said Albanese just said the Chinese-Australian relations were sound. Never mind that China has been threatening our aircraft or threatening war over Taiwan. And never mind that politicians in our parliament had to switch off phones during Zhao's visit this week for fear of Chinese spying. But it gets worse. This Chinese leader, he also stopped off in Brisbane at a koala sanctuary where pro-China activists were waving the Communist Party's flags to welcome him. But democracy campaigner Drew Pavlou, who's been a long-time critic of Communist China's oppression, he was actually pushed away by Queensland police and liaison officers when he tried to hold up his own sign. He was told to stand where his sign couldn't be seen.
Just behind that line. That's what
they're going to drop here, and then they can still see you.
Here?
Yeah, even just behind.
Can you show me where I can sit? Okay. Please show me where I can sit. Okay.
The result, it was truly farcical.
Mr. Leiji! Mr. Leiji! Mr. Leiji! I know they can hear you. Mr. Leiji!
Pop down.
We support you, Mr. Leiji. Step now before he comes.
Mate, that was the deal.
Why don't you guys move them? They're kind of in my way, aren't they? What do you say? I'm on private property.
That, viewers, is Your Australia Today. Drew Pavlou joined me. Drew Pavlou, thank you so much for your time. Why were you at that protest?
Thank you for having me, Andrew. The number 3 Chinese Communist Party official visited Australia, and I thought somebody had to do a small protest. And this man was the head of China's anti-corruption police under Xi Jinping. He basically led all of Xi Jinping's purges. So I thought I would bring a poster encouraging him to defect while he still could. Gold Coast luxury condos for sale. Because as he would know, having been in charge of the having been in charge of the Anti-Corruption Bureau, at one point you're on top, the next you're defenestrated, you're taken down. I wanted to try help him.
Well, that's exactly what happened in Stalin's Russia and Mao Zedong's China, and I think it's exactly the same here. Those purges, anti-corruption, might be about corruption, but I think too often it's just about power. Now, there we just saw the sign. Look even close up to the camera, it was hard to read. Why did you think the Queensland Police seemed so keen for you to take it to where Zhao Leiji couldn't even see it?
Yes, so this is the incredible thing about it. I didn't realise this, but there's a phenomenon called Chinese police liaison officers. I didn't even realise that these were a thing. Essentially, they're members of the community who can speak Chinese that are sort of deputised by the Queensland Police for the purposes of upholding multiculturalism. And they're not actually police officers. I thought that they were police officers, but they're not actually police officers. And they had as their top task that day trying to jostle me out of the way so that Zhao Leiji would not see my sign, which is just extraordinary. I don't understand it. I mean, this is Australia. This is Brisbane. I thought I'd be able to exercise my right to speak freely as an Australian citizen. And strangely enough, these police liaison officers are trying to jostle me out of the way to protect the honour of a visiting communist functionary. And it's just bizarre.
That is truly bizarre. What reason did they actually give you for moving you way out of sight?
Well, they said that they said that the organisers had already booked the space. I should have asked them who organised it. We both know that it was probably the consulate. I mean, there were literally 5 or 6 buses parked. They bussed in supporters. And they told me that the sign was potentially disrespectful to Zhao Leji, which again is extraordinary because this is, you know, a fearsome communist bureaucrat, the number 3 in China. I think, you know, he's been involved in purges. He's been involved in life and death battles within the Chinese Communist Party. I think he can probably survive seeing a small paper sign in Brisbane, Australia. But they had to protect his honour, it seems. And it's just extraordinary. I thought this was Australia. I thought I had freedom in my own country to speak.
It is weird, Drew. So let me get this right. They said, did they say that you had to show respect to the 3rd top guy in a communist dictatorship that has been threatening Australia?
Well, they brought the Chinese police liaison officer to come and inspect my sign to ensure that it would be okay. Again, this is not a real police officer. It's somebody who's just sort of deputised by the Queensland Police for the purpose of upholding multicultural harmony. And she said the sign may be interpreted as disrespectful. And again, I just didn't realise it was a function of the Queensland Police Service to ensure that the 3rd top guy in the Chinese Communist Party doesn't face disrespect in Australia on a visit. I just didn't think that was a remit of the Queensland Police, ensuring that communist visiting officials are given due respect.
Well, you can see where you're at fault here, Drew. You've got a sign that's meant to give disrespect, and the liaison officer wasn't sure that it did. I think next time you need to lift your game and really make it disrespectful so that there's no confusion.
Look, I would be in real trouble then, Andrew, because they actually warned me that I could be arrested for hate speech. They actually warned me prior to the arrival of the motorcade. They said, if you engage in hate speech, we will arrest you. And again, it's just amazing that my speech is policed in Australia to protect the feelings of a fearsome communist bureaucrat, a guy who's been involved in how many purges. This guy has been involved in so many life and death struggles within the fearsome Chinese Communist Party, but we have to protect his feelings, of course, from Drew Pavlou, 26-year-old, you know, suburban Brisbane guy who does YouTube videos.
Drew Pavlou, I've long admired your work, as you know. I urge viewers to go and have a look at your X feed and all that. You've been a struggler for democracy and freedom, and I appreciate that. But what an extraordinary story. I've got to tell you, mate, you're growing up in Australia that is so different to the one that I grew up in, and I don't think the change is for the better. Thank you so much for fighting against it.
Thank you, Andrew. It feels like we're under occupation. That's how it feels.